The green-spotted pufferfish, a beautiful fish with unique colors and patterns, a fish with lots of personality, a puffer with a never-ending appetite. Hello, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be giving you simple and easy to understand information and instructions on how to care for these adorable little cutie wooties. I will also explain in depth and give you all the specifics on how to properly care for these fish to give you 100% confidence in keeping these pufferfish. Green-spotted pufferfish require a little more work than the average fish, but do not let this scare you. A little commitment and patience, and you can house these stunning creatures successfully. The scientific name for this fish is on the screen in front of you. It is also commonly called the leopard fish. The most important thing to note about this fish is that these are not freshwater fish. Some stores will sell these as freshwater fish, but will require brackish water and full marine saltwater parameters as they get older. Please keep this in mind, otherwise your pufferfish will not survive. They cannot live in full freshwater. Because of this, it is important that you acclimate your leopard fish slowly to brackish or saltwater when you bring your puffer home. Brackish means half saltwater and half freshwater with a salinity level of 1.005. Saltwater has a salinity level of 1.021. Salinity is the measure of all the salt dissolved in water. I will explain later in the video in depth what all of this means and how to measure salinity. But first, the basics. If you are wanting a pufferfish that is full freshwater, I suggest going for dwarf pufferfish. They do not require massive tanks and are a little easier to care for than most puffers. There are also lots of other full freshwater puffers that you can keep. I will leave links in the descriptions to websites and articles on other freshwater pufferfish you can keep that is right for you and your aquarium. The green-spotted puffer can easily be recognized by the white underside and green-yellowish backside with black spots, hence the name leopard fish. These puffers are not to be confused with the figure-8 pufferfish. The figure-8 pufferfish has a visible number 8 symbol on its back. The green-spotted puffer is a tropical fish that requires warm water temperatures of 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. A heater is needed to keep these fish. They will not survive in cold temperatures. The current heater I use for these fish is made by Aqueon. It is a reliable and durable heater and has not given me any problems when it comes to keeping the water warm at a stable temperature for these fish. If you'd like to order yourself one, a link will be provided in the description if you are needing a good heater for these fish. Some will argue that these are a species-only fish. According to web articles and other aquarists on web forums, these fish should not be kept with other fish in a community setting. Some will even say not to keep more than one leopard fish together, as they can get quite aggressive towards other fish and each other, possibly killing and injuring other fish. In my personal experience, I have not had my pufferfish attack or hurt each other. This might be because I got them all together at once when they were juveniles and were used to each other. I bought these fish back in September of 2018. There was 4 of them in a small tank with other fish and they seemed to be doing well. I watched them for a good 15 minutes to see if they were aggressive before buying them, and I saw no signs of aggression, and they've been peaceful in my aquarium since then. Maybe I got lucky. Just be aware, these fish, they do have the potential of being aggressive. Tank size requirements for these animals depends on how many you want to keep. The internet states that 30 gallons is the minimum for just one leopard fish, and a 55 gallon is the minimum for no more than 4 leopard fish. The current tank size I currently have for these fish is a 40-gallon breeder. This tank currently houses 3 leopard fish. Some will argue this is not big enough. Personally, I feel this is the perfect tank size for 3 juvenile leopard fish. I usually keep juvenile fish in tanks a little smaller than the recommended size, just so I can target feed them. I find this is the best way to grow out my fish to adulthood. I learned this while breeding angelfish. When the angelfish hatches from an egg, you don't immediately put it in a large tank where it will struggle to find food during feeding time. You put it in a small tank first, so it learns how to find food properly and effectively. Eventually down the road, my puffers will get a bigger tank. These fish are scaleless and are less resistant to parasites and infections. Most of these puffers are wild caught, so make sure to medicate these fish as soon as you bring them home. As far as personality goes, these fish spend most of their time either exploring the aquarium or at the front of the aquarium, waiting for someone to feed them. After they eat, they will lie at the bottom of the aquarium and rest. It seems like they are sick or dying, but in reality they are just chilling. They will also do this when the lights are off and it's time for them to sleep. They also seem to love human interaction and are not very skittish fish, which means they are not jumpers. I was able to keep these guys without a lid for months until I was able to afford one for them. When taking them out or putting them into the aquarium, make sure to not use a net and instead use a cup, because the net will stress them out and potentially cause them to puff up, which you don't want happening with your puffers. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys about how to keep their aquarium clean. Now, pufferfish are very messy eaters, and later on towards the end of the video I'm going to show you guys clips of them eating and what I feed them. But for right now, I think it's essential that I tell you guys how to properly care for their aquarium, because pufferfish are very messy eaters. As you can see, at the time of this recording, the tank was very dirty, and I did that intentionally because I wanted to show you guys how I keep my tank clean and how I clean it. I also keep 3 hang on the back filters for my green spotted pufferfish tank. Now, I use the Aqua Clear brand. This is the brand of hang on the back filters that I use. It's what I've been using for almost all of my aquariums that use hang on the back filters, and I trust these hang on the back filters very much. I'll leave a link in the description for these filters in case anybody's interested. You can never have too much filtration for a green spotted puffer tank. The more filtration, the better. To do a water change for your aquarium, just go ahead and get a Python water changer and just let it drain about 50% of the aquarium. Once the aquarium is drained to the desired amount, go ahead and get a algae sponge and go ahead and just try to get rid of as much algae as you can. Now, because these guys always leave a lot of leftover food in the aquarium, it's going to produce a lot of algae, especially with the lighting that you have on your aquarium. So go ahead and just try to get rid of all the algae in there. If you don't have any algae in your tank, then that's good. So you're going to need a few 5-gallon buckets. This is what I use for my saltwater aquarium, because you can't use the Python water changer to put in fresh water. You have to mix your water with the salt. Before you mix salt into your aquarium, you're going to need to fill the 5-gallon buckets with regular tap water. Then you will need to use a dechlorinator solution such as Prime to make the water safe for your aquarium fish. Now, this is a pretty easy thing to do. The next part is to get some marine salt. This is not to be confused with aquarium salt. You will need to get marine salt. This is the brand that I use. It's about $20 a bag, and each bag is good for 50 gallons of water. So I usually do a 50% water change. That means I use just about almost half of the bag of the marine salt for my saltwater aquarium. It's pretty easy. You just have to put the salt into the buckets, mix it with a whisk, and then go ahead, put that into your aquarium. It's pretty easy after a while. It's pretty nerve-wracking at first because you're not sure if you did it right or not. Once you do it a few times, you get used to it. Once you do the water change, don't be alarmed if your water gets a little cloudy. This is just because of the salt that's in there, and usually the water gets cloudy after you do a water change, whether it be a freshwater aquarium or a saltwater aquarium. Just give it time and it'll eventually clear up. Now, one thing that I want to add is that you are going to need something called a refractor. A refractor is a tool that is used to measure the salinity. Without this, you're not going to know if the salinity is at the right level as it should be. Now, keep in mind, you will have to calibrate these. I didn't know how to calibrate mine, so I had somebody at the local fish store calibrate it for me. Once you have it calibrated, what you will do is you will put a few drops from the saltwater aquarium onto the blue lens piece there at the end, and you will look inside of that hole while facing that tool towards the light. And once you look at it towards the light, it'll tell you what the salinity level is. It'll be hard to understand how to read these things at first, but eventually after a while you'll learn how to do this. I'll leave a few links down in the description that will help you better understand this, just in case I wasn't able to explain it properly. But it's a very easy tool to use, I promise. When it comes to food, I feed my green spotted pufferfish meaty foods such as bloodworms, crabs, snails, and krill. Check out these feedings right here. There's a bunch of helpful links in the description just in case I didn't answer your question, or leave a comment down below and I will try to answer your question. My name is MasterAquatics. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace out.